Hey, what's up, guys? Ronin Man here. I just watched a comedian, and she was saying that she has spent her whole life being hairless for men, trying to be hairless for men. And I just wanted to break that down and really tell you, this really feeds into the upcoming summit on Christmas, is why you should really travel and be open to traveling. How does that connect? What does that have to do with that? Okay. So she said, I'm trying to be hairless for men. So first thing I want to say is trying, okay? I would guess that comedian, she looked a little sloppy to me, was not very successful. So trying is not very good. Like, if a man is trying to stay out of prison, but he's still going to prison, is that considered not a criminal? No, that's a criminal. Is a guy who's trying to stay clean, but he's always smelly, is that guy clean? No, he's trying. But he, you know what I mean? At least he's trying, right? That's like what we say. And let's say somebody is trying to be rich. Okay, does that mean that he has a lot of money? No. It just means he's trying, right? Which is in his own mind, whatever that means, with whatever tools he has. We all know that that is not the same thing as being. So she's trying. So basically what she's saying is, it's a never-ending battle. And that's what she says in the rest of the comedy skit. It's a never-ending battle, and the hair, and she goes into it. Which brings me in my second point, is that modern women in the West complain about doing things that they do for themselves and blame it on other people, right? So she's trying to be hairless. Why? Why is she trying to do that? I have a lot of friends who like hairy girls, actually. My friend Dave in Tokyo, he loves hairy girls, man. He loves a hairy one. And this guy is very experienced too. You know, so that's another thing. I take guys who have slept with, this guy slept with over 1,000, way over 1,000. I'd say probably 2,000 women. And he likes hair. So, you know, I take that pretty seriously, because when I see a guy who's very experienced with anything, travel, making money, in politics, whatever it is, being a mechanic, you know, electrician, I say, hey, that guy's got experience. He knows more than I do. I'm going to listen to that. And it doesn't mean that I agree with that, but I'm definitely going to take it seriously. And Dave was like, I love a natural, box. And that's always kind of stuck in my mind, because I've always preferred a trim one, right? Anyway, so she's trying to be hairless. Okay, why? What is hairless? Why would she try to do that? One, we've already basically deduced that she's not very successful. So how that works in real life, for you guys that don't, haven't been with a lot of women, a woman who's trying to groom herself but not really into it, is what that means is that it's only going to be good on certain days. Okay, so, which is very bad for the man, like really bad. Okay, why? Why is it so bad? It's bad because women already have a tendency, they have control of sex. Okay, totally. What makes it even worse is when there's a practical logistical thing stopping it. So this is what makes it so difficult in relationships, is you have one thing, you have the woman isn't really attracted often to the partner that she marries, because she settled for him after, doing whatever she wanted, or still doing whatever she wants. So she's not very attracted. So that's a problem. The second problem is that there's often kids. So kids, they make it impractical. Every married person knows that as much as you love your kids, it really messed up your sex life, because logistics get in the way. And, I'll tell you something about the pickup industry. The best guys I knew who really did, they would, just to put it into words, they would be putting on clothes, shaving, getting ready to go out, and then 2 hours later, fingers deep in a girl, moaning, wherever they were, in the dance floor, between a building, back home, in a motel. Like, they would be making out with a chick that they just met, right? And boning a chick they just met. Getting a BJ. She's getting on her knees. He doesn't even hardly know her name, right? But what was I going to say about those guys? Those guys, yeah, the pickup guys. One of the best guys I know, they all focus on logistics first. You would think that if you watch, pickup industry, it's all about clothes and money and this and that. But logistics, because you can have a girl who's super hot for it, but if you don't have any place to take her, if you don't have a plan, then it doesn't work out. I've had a million times I'll have a girl that totally wants to do it, but it's just like logistically. She's got to go. The train is coming. There's no time. She's got to go to work. And it just doesn't happen logistically. Now, there are times, there's that extreme time in the beginning when a girl will break all those logistics and get fired from a job, get berated by her family, lose social status just to bone you because it's so important to her. But in the long run, logistics are number one. And if you're a betting man, if you're an odds guy, if you're like an insurance, what do they call it? Not an analyst. What's the word for the insurance people who do the numbers? Anyway, if you're that kind of person, you're going to always go with logistics, number one. Because if there's a way to take the girl when she's ready, it happens a lot easier. It's not all about this other bullshit. It's just, sometimes it's so simple, but logistics, okay? Now, when a girl is shaving sometimes, when she thinks, so she wakes up in the morning and she's thinking, okay, what's going to happen today? Oh, nothing's going to happen. She doesn't shave. Then it turns out different. She meets, something happens that you didn't expect it. There was a party, surprise party, whatever. Now all of a sudden it's on, but she's not shaved. Now, what a girl like that will do, kind of a loser woman who can't properly groom herself, is she's like, well, I'm not properly groomed. So she'll turn you down, right? And that's the thing. There's so many lazy, basically dirty, improperly groomed, angry women out there. It's really, you got to take women off a pedestal. They are not princesses. Look very clearly at them. And I say that like completely, look like a CCTV camera at them with no emotion. And you will see that in that group, there will be outliers. But you're only going to see them if you can see everybody, honestly, right? Most women, like on a scale of 1 to 10, are not the greatest at grooming. They are not the greatest at choosing clothes. They're not the greatest at choosing colors. They're not the greatest at getting in shape. They're not the greatest at working on their vocabulary. They're not the greatest at being feminine. They're not the greatest at being graceful. They're not the greatest at being witty. They're not the greatest at knowing, I've known a couple of big, like famous models, like big time models that are on all the magazines. And they told me, they said, the creams are all BS. It's all about sleep and food. And they sleep and eat very, very well. And that's how I'm talking the top models, like the girls that are, the Dior and that kind of girls. And that's the ultimate. You can't change the outside if you don't change the inside, right? But how many women really understand this in the West? I'm serious. How many? What percentage? Very low. It's very low. Most women are in a processed food environment and they're just a big yeast infection, really. So let's go back to this comedian, right? And he said, so we got over the trying hairless. Oh, I want to the hairless thing is pretty funny too, because that is to look like a child. That is why an adult woman would shave her box, right? She wants to look very young. And yet they blame men. It's so crazy. There's two sides to every crime, okay? There's the purveyor of the crime, okay, there's the dealer, and then there's the user, right? If you get rid of the dealers, the users have nothing, right? They can't do anything. But if you if you encourage the dealers, okay, you let them run the streets, run rampant, and then you put all the users in jail, it doesn't fix anything because there's always a new generation, right? There is a crazy standard in the West. Basically, I mean, straight up, here's the thing. Western women look old for their age, okay? And Asian women look young. And it's totally natural. And also many, like if you go to, like in South America and everything, a lot of the tribes, they just look young. They just look very young for their age. And it is totally natural. Now, which do you prefer? Let's say that you like a young, fertile female, feminine woman, okay? Would you want somebody who's trying to be that, but by their own admission, not really succeeding? Trying to be somebody they're not, right? That's the other thing. They're older. They look older. It's clown show, really. Okay, and then the final part is for men. And this part I really disagreed with her because let's say I wear a suit, okay, and I go to a job interview. Now, am I doing that for the interview? You could say that. You could say that I'm wearing a suit for the interview. But more honestly, I'm doing it so I can get some money, right? That's why a guy would do that. Guy would put on a suit, go to a job interview because he wants a job, right? Now, the company doesn't care if I go. It doesn't care if you go. Some other guy is going to go. So the company's not really making you, although it's a lazy, easy way to say it. It's like, the company's making you wear a suit. They're not. You, and this is the thing, this is where you have to look at yourself, really, and analyze your own motivations, right? And you're putting on a suit because you want a job and you're willing. So many people don't want to take accountability today for their own actions. You are wearing a suit and you're willing to make that compromise if you don't like suits. And the reason being is that you want to pay the bills or you want to buy something or whatever it is. And it's not for companies. The companies really, like I said, they're just doing their thing, right? They're going to continue on if you don't work at IBM, and IBM will still be there, And men are here. Now, men have preferences. And what we see now is a very sad situation in the West. Very sad. Because we have women who've let themselves go. Okay, once you're 15 pounds overweight, it's kind of over. And once you're past, like, say, 30, as far as really being a possible wife, it's getting over. And it's a short window. I really empathize with women on this one because when you're young, you often, it's difficult, okay, to see life in perspective. So I do empathize very strongly with women. But that's the reason why you need a good father. You need a father. A woman, a daughter needs a father to tell her the truth about life. And she, of course, doesn't want to hear it. And children never want to hear hard realities. But in the end, if you look at yourself, you look at your friends and the ones who heard hard realities and listened and followed and begrudgingly, they did a lot better, right? They worked hard. They got a work ethic, right? They saved money. They took responsibility. And that paid off for them, right? So Western women, and this is really across the board, they blame men for the things they do to get men. And that is a very sad situation because, as I said, in marriages are doomed. They build up resentment. And when they finally marry you, that's when the resentment comes out. Is all those years of doing things to please guys that they didn't want to do to get married. Well, now they're married. that's when they start to get revenge. So you have really a losing proposition with Western women, because you have women who don't want to groom, right? They don't want to. And good on them. I don't care. The thing is, they're fighting a losing battle anyway, often, because they're often overweight. So for me, I think I've never encouraged women to shave or anything. I encourage women to do whatever they want. In my theory, my philosophy has always been, do what you want, and that's fine, and I'll decide what I'm going to do now that you've done that, right? So it would be similar to a woman saying to a guy, if he had, let's say a guy had $5 million, and he said, look, I want to give this money to the poor. And she said, well, how are we going to pay the bills? He's like, I don't know. I'll do it again, And she says, okay, well, go ahead and do what you want. And then the guy gives the money away, and then she leaves, right? She has every right to, because she really wanted him. Of course, you want people to do things that are good for them, for themselves and for you. You want that. But a smart man doesn't hang his hat on that. And I definitely am a smart man in this category. I do not try to change people. I just look at you and I say, does he want to change? Is he changing? Am I seeing change? And that's it. And it's the same with women. Am I seeing change? And I don't see change. I see more and more resentment. There's a built-up resentment over things that I consider basic, like women being women being feminine, I should say, women being feminine. There's a resentment against that. There's a resentment, and it gets even worse, as many channels say. The other part is that once you call them on it, they get very touchy. And this is why I don't have women on my show, because I really don't want to put people down. I don't want to change people. I think if women want to destroy their lives, that's totally fine. I totally, that's their decision. I don't stand in the way of that. It doesn't make me happy. It's same with a company. When I see a company fail, or I see Japan's economy going down, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not in charge of spending money for the Japanese government or their policies. And I also know that I can't control it. So I allow things around me to go to hell. That's what a lot of MGTOW guys can't do. They can't let the world go to hell around them. One of the things you have to do to be free is to let other people be themselves. Let them do what they do. Totally let them go. Every time you catch yourself kind of trying to control them into something that's good for them, you got to say, wait a second. No, let them go. Now, here's the most important part of this video, is that the reason why you let them go. If you don't have a choice, okay, if you're on a raft and there's 3 people and one person's eating too much, you have to control how much they eat. Okay, you cannot let them eat all the food and you starve to death. So if you have no options, okay, and this is what I think a lot of MGTOW guys think, is the reason why men are so controlling or trying to control women, because they see the disaster that's happening. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're absolutely right. They see the shattering of these standard relationships. They see the coming demographic crisis. They see the sadness. They see the wasted lives. And of course, they feel bad about it. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand. But there's a better way. Okay, so you see. That's good. You see. Now, and what's next? The next thing is the reason why you don't have to control it. Okay, because you probably think, I'm on a life raft. What am I going to do? I got to do my part. Okay, now, let's talk about the hairless part. And I talked about this in Searching for the Perfect, I think it was Searching for the Perfect Pussy episode. I'll see if I can find it. I'll put it below. Is that there are countries and there are nationalities of women who are basically hairless naturally. And they don't do anything to be like that. they are naturally hairless. There might be a little puff of very soft, I forget what it's called. It's angel hair above what is it? Mondus pubis, I forget the name. But anyway, just above the bump above. And it's just a soft, and then below the lips and everything, there's no natural hair. And there's quite a few, countries and tribes and people, women that are like this. One of them is Vietnam. Vietnam is like that. Often in Cambodia, you're going to see that. Burma, you're going to see that kind of naturally hairless woman. Now the great thing about them is not only are they naturally hairless, but they also have very beautiful hair. So it's a killer combo because they have really thick, famously thick, straight, silky, long, healthy, vibrant hair. So you have beautiful hair on the head, right? And then you have kind of naturally hairless down below, and also on the arms, under the arms and all that. So if you do like that, you don't have to, don't play a losing game. Don't be with these women that are fighting the battles. Like, that's not your battle. Go get what you want. Find what you want. And it's not about age at all. There's women who are 45, they're still hairless. It ain't about age at all. It's about ethnicity and genetics. So you can definitely, if that's what you want, and I say this exact same thing with women. If you like a guy who's hairless, you can also go to Vietnam. Or if you like a guy a certain height, there's certain tribes where people, the Maasai tribe, there's certain tribes where guys are very tall. And you can go, instead of wishing, okay, that your boyfriend's taller, go somewhere where they're taller, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's not complicated. Why waste all this energy with people who can't change? Go find the exact thing you want. It's out there, and it's natural. And that is a beautiful thing, because I hate fake things. I really can't stand fake stuff. I really like, and that's going to go into my femininity episode, which is coming up. I might do it at the summit. We'll see. But I like a naturally feminine woman who moves her hands in a feminine way, who moves her head in a feminine way, who laughs with her eyes. And it's a very natural thing. And some women are just naturally feminine. And it's a beautiful thing. Other women have been raised in a very, a society that values feminism, a feminist, feminine auras, I guess. It's more than actions. It's really an aura. And I think the feminine aura is beautiful. I think a lot of women, the crazy thing is, a lot of channels, like MGTOW channels, they don't understand society. One thing they don't understand is we're the guys who really appreciate femininity. That's the funny thing. Like, real, true femininity is a beautiful thing. And I can't stand to see it destroyed. As much as I don't like to see a man who has been destroyed. I can't stand to see a guy who's in jail, who's broken. Now, of course, if he's in there on false charges, even worse. Because why do we feel so bad about that? Is because it's such a tragedy. It's such a tragedy. It's not the way it should be. And that's what we see going on today. But, and I want to end on this, not important. You cannot change it. And there's options. When there's exactly what you want, totally natural out there. You just have to learn. You got to learn about yourself. What is it you want? You got to find out where you want to go, right? Plan it out well. And leave clowns behind that really can't do what you want anyway. Like, I can't get taller. Don't, for women, don't try to hope a guy is going to get taller. There's a surgery in China to get taller. They saw your legs in half, and then they put you in a hospital bed, and they pull the legs apart with I forgot, it's like a big rubber band thing, and then they allow the the bones to reach out and grow together. And they do the surgery like twice. They saw in half. They actually saw the calf bone in half. And then it regrows over that distance that it separates. And it requires, it's like a year where you're hospitalized, and you can gain about something like an inch or something, maybe an inch and a half. But, it's obviously very dangerous. It's a terrible thing to do, and it's a terrible waste of a year or two when you're, crippled and you're putting yourself at risk from surgery going wrong. So girls, don't expect guys to get taller, right? We don't want that. And guys, don't expect women to do things they don't want to do. And really, really stop trying to change society. Let it flow by you. Society's gonna flow by you anyway. Look at the world already. It's always flowed by you. Let it flow. Let it flow. And go get what you want. And leave clowns behind.